everyone, it's Dr. Jones and welcome to Scratch. Scratch is a really great platform where we can learn the basics of how to code and the concepts that what makes coding work very easy. So we're going to go to scratch.mit.edu. And the first thing that I want you to do is click on Join Scratch if you don't already have an account. If you do, go ahead and sign in. Put in a username and create a password. This allows us to save our projects on the cloud and we don't have to download everything. I'm going to hit the back button because I actually already have an account. So I'm going to go to Scratch, and in the upper right-hand corner, I would sign in. Once I've signed in, I'm going to click here on Create. And as you're clicking on Create, the first thing that you're going to see is that the GUI is going to appear. This is what we call a Graphical User Interface, GUI. And this GUI, or GUI, is a setup for Scratch. Remember, Scratch allows us to do programming, but in a very simple way and learn the concepts. So over on the left-hand side, you're going to see the menu for all the color coding that represents all the different blocks that you can do in code. In the middle are the actual blocks that you're going to use to code with. In the middle here is the coding window, and on the far right is our stage. Also note that down here underneath our stage is where our sprites live. Our sprites are the characters that we're going to put on our stage. Sprites can also be background images or things that we're going to use to change the way in which the visual piece of our Scratch program is going to look. I also want to make note that up here at the top, you have the Code tab, you have the Costumes tab, and you have Sound. Now, costumes come when you choose a sprite that has more than one look. Now, looks are important because, as you can see, these are all animated sprites. In an animation, in order for it to look like something is moving, you have to draw it in different positions. And so in this particular one, a costume shows what it looks like when you originally select your sprite. And then costume 2 shows it with a different image. So with the cat, we can make it look like it's running. The other piece here is that under sounds is where we can record music, audio, verbiage, whatever we want that will be used in our program. Here you'll notice that the sound that's attributed to this particular sprite is meow. So we're going to come back here to our home page. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to make my cat move. But in order to do that, I have to give the computer some instructions and I need to tell it when we want the cat to move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to my events button. Events are yellow. And events are concepts in computer science that create the action that we're going to do something. So for instance, I want my cat to move, but when? So I'm going to select that I want my cat to move when this green flag is clicked. So the event is when the green flag is clicked that the sprite is going to move. Now, we want it to move, so we've got to go back and we have to choose the action that we want to happen when we click on the event. So here, we're going to move 10 steps when the green flag is clicked. So watch this. Our sprite has moved 10 steps. Now, did you notice it didn't move very far? Well, the 10 represents pixels. So it's actually just moving 10 pixels, which quite frankly isn't that much. So we may want to make it move a little bit more because otherwise we're going to keep clicking our green flag. Also note that the only way in which this event happened is when we clicked the green flag. The only way that the computer will take action is because we have said when the green flag is clicked. So let's change here in our white bubble. That white bubble is what we call a variable. And variables allow us to change values and factors in the way in which we interact with our sprites or our content on the screen. So I'm going to change this to like 50. I don't want to say we're going to move 50 steps or 50 pixels. All right. So now when I hit the green flag, you're going to see that it moves a little bit further. And every time I click the green flag, I'm moving 50 steps. You have now just written your first line of code, right? Pretty awesome. When the green flag is clicked, we're going to move 50 steps. So much fun. All right, now we're kind of like, ugh, what do we want to do with this thing? We may want to actually have it turn around and do something a little bit different. So you'll notice over here, there's lots of different options that we can use for Scratch, including turning, turning back, gliding, oh goodness, changing. The one that I kind of want is that, look what happens if I keep clicking. I'm going to start going off the screen. I don't really want that. So I'm going to drag over that if we're on the edge, it's going to bounce. So now when I click, it turns upside down and starts to move back. All right. I may also want it to turn. So I'm going to add in here that as it's moving 50 steps, it's going to start turning up. And you'll notice it's turning 15 degrees every time. Now remember, you can change that as well. So you can come down here and actually change this to be 30 degrees, all right? And then your sprite is going to change the value of the degree in which it's turning. Again, remember, that is a variable. All right, I want you to play a little bit and see how you can move your sprite around the screen. Thanks so much, and we'll be back next time to talk about adding in a loop and then maybe adding another sprite to this. See you next time.